Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has arrived in New Delhi, India for the G20 Summit. He was accompanied by his son Xavier. PM was received by Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar. New Delhi is hosting the G20 Summit in New Delhi on September 9th and 10th in its capacity as the current president for the grouping. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi do not have a scheduled bilateral meeting as of now. The trade talks with India were paused shortly before the G20 summit in New Delhi. India's envoy to Canada recently revealed that Ottawa asked for a pause within the last month. The envoy did not elaborate on why, and neither will the International Trade Minister or Prime Minister. Speaking from Singapore, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was asked twice to give a reason, but he did not clarify. Instead said that G20 summit is a place where important matters will be discussed. Let's listen in.
We've committed to finalizing the CEPA trade deal with Indonesia by the end of 2024, and we're continuing our negotiations for a free trade agreement between Canada and all of ASEAN. Beyond trade, the other way we can create economic growth is by promoting stability in the region. With the pandemic, with natural disasters, with wars and conflicts, these past few years have shown us how interconnected we all are. Well, stability benefits us all. As part of our mutual interest in supporting a rules-based international order and protecting security in the Indo-Pacific, Canada will invest an additional $10 million to help ASEAN prevent, detect, and respond to biological threats like pandemics. We'll also provide $2.6 million to support nuclear security training in Thailand and help expand training within Southeast Asia. And with Singapore, we will renew the Canada-Singapore Cybersecurity Agreement.
US President Joe Biden also arrived in India for the G20 summit on Friday, September 8th. Ahead of the G20 summit, Joe Biden and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi conducted a bilateral meeting and reaffirmed the close and enduring partnership between India and United States. During the bilateral meeting between the two leaders, which was held at 7 Lok Kalyan Marg in New Delhi, both PM Modi and President Joe Biden called on their respective governments to continue the work of transforming the India-US strategic partnership across all dimensions of the multifaceted global agenda based on trust and mutual understanding. The leaders re-emphasized that the shared value of freedom, democracy, human rights, inclusion, pluralism, and equal opportunities for all citizens are critical to the success of the countries, and that these values strengthen our relationship. The Indo-US joint statement on the White House website read so. President Biden also congratulated Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the scientists and engineers of the Indian Space Research Organization on Chandrayaan-3's historic landing at the South Polar region of the Moon, as well as the successful launch of India's first solar mission, Aditya L1. Having set a course to reach new frontiers across all sectors of space cooperation, the leaders welcomed efforts towards establishment of a working group for commercial space collaboration under the existing India-US Joint Working Group. Determined to deepen the partnership in outer space exploration, ISRO and NASA have commenced discussions on modalities, capacity building, and training for mounting a joint effort to the International Space Station in 2024 and are continuing efforts to finalize a strategic framework for human space flight cooperation by the end of 2023. India and the United States also intend to increase coordination on planetary defense to protect planet Earth and space assets from the impact of asteroids and near-Earth objects. UK PM Rishi Sunak landed in Delhi on September 8th to attend the G20 summit. Speaking to reporters, he shared his thoughts on India's position on Ukraine-Russia war, where he said that it is not for me to tell India what position to take on Ukraine. Specifically talking on the pro-Khalistan extremism, he said that it won't be tolerated. Let's listen in.
Let me just say unequivocally that no form of extremism or violence like that is acceptable in the UK, and that's why we are working very closely with the Indian government to particularly tackle PKE, pro-Khalistan extremism. I don't think it's right. Our security minister recently was just in India talking to his counterparts. We have working groups together to share intelligence and information so that we can root out this kind of violent extremism. It's not right, and I won't tolerate it in the UK.
India will be hosting the G20 Summit on September 9th and 10th and is welcoming world leaders. A roundup of leaders who have arrived in Delhi so far: US President Joe Biden, UK PM Rishi Sunak, Australian Premier Anthony Albanese, Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol, Deputy Prime Minister of Oman Asad bin Tariq bin Taimur al-Said, Oman PM Haytham bin Tariq al-Said, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, South African President Cyril, Turkey's President Erdogan, Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, President of UAE Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan.